Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Jumping Let's Play. Really excited for this one because I finally get to show you one of my hotly anticipated games of 2022, the UK Games Expo award-winning game Akropolis. So we'll head downstairs and we'll take a look at how the game is played and then come back up for our final thoughts. See you in a moment. So here we have the setup for Akropolis. We'll run through explain exactly what we've got here, then give you an idea of how the game is played, a few turns of the gameplay itself. So each player is given one of these starting tiles. This is double-sided, so it doesn't matter what side you start on. Each of them will have a star here. This is for one of the different types of districts, which we'll go into in just a little moment. And around it, we have 3 quarries, which is where we're going to be able to get stone, which again, we'll explain in just a moment. We determine a first player for the purpose of this, will be the first player here, and then each round this will move its way around the table. In the centre of the table, in easy reach of everyone, we have our stacks of tiles down here, face down, and these for a 2-player game are in stacks of 3. This will leave 4 left over, which are placed like so, with this one being known as the first tile and working its way inwards towards the stack. So that is our setup, fairly straightforward. So we'll just explain a few bits here. So the objective of the game is to score as many points as possible across a variety of different districts. We do this by collecting districts. You can see we've got different coloured ones here, for example, and then we've got a few on these ones here as well. And each district is going to have its own scoring requirements. So for example, our houses, we're going to be scoring points for houses that are part of our largest group of adjacent houses. So that is this blue one here, which means that at the end of the game, we're going to score for having the largest group that is connected together. We then have our markets, that is these yellow ones here. These ones score by being separate from each other. They don't want to be next to each other. Our barracks, which are the red ones on here, these want to be on the outside of your city or on the edge. So for example, at the end of the game, that would score us for a barrack, whereas if it was covered like so, that would score us nothing there. We then have the temples, which are these ones here, which want to be completely surrounded on all sides. So again, that one and then another one in there to help score it. And finally, we have our gardens. These don't have any placement restrictions at all, so you can place these wherever you like. Now, in order to score these, you don't just place them, you'll also need to use the stars. So this blue star is used for the houses. This will give us a multiplier of 1. The more of these that we have, the more we can add to our multiplier, and the same with the others. You can see that the barracks has got 2 stars here, the temples have got 2 stars here. The more that we add, the higher the score will be. We'll also be building up as well. So when you are placing your tiles, when you have an area that you can cover that's at least 2 or more tiles, you can place another tile on top to raise the level. What this will do is for the districts, this will score them, give you more points. That will score you 2 points, whereas anything on this level would score you 1 point. Obviously anything that is uncovered. So we'll dive in and give you a idea of the gameplay. So this has a drafting style to it. So we will be picking one of these 4 tiles in front of us and adding it to our city. We can take the first one at no cost, but each one after it costs an additional 1. So if we wanted to take this, we would have to spend this one, and that would go back to the supply. This is our stone, and we get more of these by covering up these tiles here, these quarries. So we're just going to take this one for now, and we're going to place that in like so, which means that this is now the first tile. So our opponent, if they want to take one of these, they would then spend the appropriate amount to take that. So let's say they decide they're going to just take this one for now. That leaves us a choice of 2. So we've got this here. So if we say pay our 1, we're going to take this one here and we're going to plonk it in there because we want to have this surrounded. We now have a multiplier for our barracks as well, and a housing district that can make use of the starting multiplier. Now we've done that, we've got one tile left. There's always one tile left at the end of each round, so this will now move into the first position. We will take a stack of 3 tiles, we will place them out like so, and then the first player marker will be handed to the next player. They will then start that round, and we will carry on again. So we'll take a look here. They've got their 2 stones, so they may decide that they want to take this one. So they spend their 2 stone and chuck it back into the supply. Now it's us. We don't have any stone. If in a situation you don't have any stone, you just take whatever is currently the first tile here. So we don't have any stones, so we can't take this one as much as we might like to take that. So we're going to take this, and what we're going to do is we're going to place that in there, which completely surrounds this temple, which means when we get to our end game scoring, if that temple's still visible, or if we've got one higher up, we'll be able to score. And of course, we do need the multiplier, so we would need to take that into account at some point. So back to the first player for this round, and they're going to take this tile. So they take that, and that gets added to their city. And again, this one moves to the front of the queue, and we reveal 3 more tiles, and now we become the first player again. So we decide what we want to do, and again, no stone at the moment, so we can take this. So what we're going to do here is place this one like so. So we're covering up a tile or 2 tiles underneath, 2 from this one and 1 from here. And we've got 2 quarries that we're covering up, which means we get to take 2 stone. And we now have 2 districts that are now worth 2 points each towards the end of the game. So now our opponent takes their turn, and they take this tile. It comes back to us. So now we can take this tile for free, or we can take this one and spend 1 quarry, 1 stone for that. So that is what we're going to do. So we take this, and then we'll place that in like so. And you see here we're starting to build up this housing district here, and we're working our way towards another completed temple. So again, next 3 tiles are revealed. This one moved to the front of the queue. This is given to our opponent, and then they take the first pick. So they may spend a couple of stone and take one of those, leaving us here with some interesting choices. So what we might do is say take this one here, and we're going to cover up this here. So this is giving us 2 stone because we're covering up 2 quarries, and then our opponent takes their turn, and they may just take that one. And it keeps going back and forth until all of these stacks have been depleted and there's 1 remaining tile left in the centre of the table. We will then go through and we will take a look at all of our different districts and score them accordingly. So, for example, our housing district, we will take a look at how many stars we've got for that, and then how many tiles we have in any of our largest zones, as well as taking into account how high those tiles are as well. So if this was our end of our game, this is scoring us 1 point. This one here is scoring us 2 points because it's on the 2nd level. And if we only had this star here, that would just be a multiplier of 1, giving us 3 points. Same here, we've got a barrack on the 1st level here, a barrack on the 2nd level here, giving us 3 points, a multiplier of 2 there, giving us 6 points. And then we would do the same with the others. With this market, that would be scoring us 2 points. With this temple being surrounded, that would score us 2 points as well, for example. So we'll go back up top, discuss our final thoughts, and review the game. See you in a moment. So there we have it, a quick gameplay of Akropolis. I hope you found that to be of help to you. So before we dive into the box, we're just going to very quickly discuss the gameplay and what I thought of it. First and foremost, really crisp, nice, clean gameplay in Akropolis. The objective is clear, the tiles are clear, and the setup is nice and simple as well, which means that you're going to be getting it to the table in no time at all. The phases are straightforward. You're going to be picking a tile, you're going to be placing a tile. You can place that tile anywhere, but you will need to think about what you're going to want to score, if you're going to be building up, where you're going to be building up, and what you're going to be covering over. The quarries are obviously something that are going to be useful to you as the game progresses, because you are going to want to collect certain tiles. So you have a kind of resource management mechanic in there where you will be covering up perhaps something that was scoring you points in order to cover up nearby quarries, so that you can then afford better tiles or preferred tiles later in the game. The scoring is fairly straightforward. Each plaza, each district has its own scoring method, but these are all relatively easy to understand, and there are reference cards to give you a quick reminder of exactly how each of those districts scores. So, onto the box itself. So, the artwork, I absolutely love the artwork. It kind of represents, it's very thematic to the game. And as we go through the rulebook itself, you can see how well laid out it is. We've got a nice simple list for our components, an easy guide to the setup, and then the actual rules to the gameplay itself are very well done. We've got nice big diagrams, we've got large text, we've got colourful headings, and where needed for important notes, they are highlighted as well. We also get a variant list on the back as well if you want to change up the gameplay in it, but having played quite a few games of this already, I can say that it's fantastic as it is. So inside the box, you can see here we've got a section for everything. So we've got these 9 boxes here that are going to take all of our tiles. So we have quite a few here. I'll just take some of them out as well as these. So we have our starting tiles. These are double-sided. I guess it just doesn't matter which way you have them, so that's always helpful. And each of them are the same. They're going to give you the same starting resources, that scoring for the housing districts, and 3 quarries, which are going to help you get stone later in the game. The quality of the cardboard chits are really impressive as well. These are really thick, which means that they're going to be very durable. They can endure a lot of gameplay before they see any kind of wear and tear, so I really do appreciate that. The actual construction tiles themselves are clearly labelled, so you can see exactly which districts are which, as well as the quarries themselves. So there's not going to be any confusion really between what each tile is giving you and what you can use each tile for. The game scales pretty well over 2 to 4 players, and it does this by adding tiles based on the player count. So in here we've got these 4 sections which we've placed our 2-player tiles in, and then we've got a couple more sections here. So we've got these ones on the back. If we've got 3 players, we're adding another chunk of tiles, and then when we get to our 4-player, we're adding a few more as well. So it scales really well no matter what your player count, and I really do like that, because there are a lot of games out there that say they're for 2 players, but when you open the rule book and you start playing, you realise that actually this is a 3 and up player game, not a 2-player game. So it's always good to see stuff like this in a game. It makes it raises it in esteem for me. So the last few bits here, we have got our reference cards. So these reference cards are going to be telling you the quantities of each tile for each player count, as well as what the tiles look like and how to score them. On the back here, we're going to have a reference for the variant as well. I always love a game that puts in reference cards. I think it just helps people, especially first few times that you're playing it. You're not having to go back to the rulebook, disrupting the gameplay. You can just have a quick look down at this to see all the important information. So that's a big plus for me. And as an added bonus, we've got ourselves a score pad as well. They are double-sided, which means that depending on the amount of players, you're going to get a lot more use out of the score pads than you otherwise would. So that is everything for Akropolis. This has been one of my most hotly anticipated games of 2022. First saw it at the Toy Fair back in January, and they've been excited ever since. So it's fantastic to have this in my hands finally, and really excited to have it in store as well. If you'd like to give it a go, this is available in the demo area and the boardroom. It's just £2 per person. You can play this and over 200 other games. We also have it for sale in the shop and on our website now for £24.95. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the boardroom.